Hey guys, John here. I've had some questions about weight over bar, standing and foot positions, and just wanted to address this. I don't think it's really been addressed and really thought about much in Highland Games. I think people have other cues with weight over bar that can work kind of indirectly, but I don't know if people have thought about this as much. And what that is, first off, is what they're doing with their feet. If you see my feet here, you get your deadlift position and more, working towards that coveted vertical shin. Or even when we have our, kettlebell swings, we want a more vertical shin because we're not trying to make it real squatty, right? So we don't want that big squat, and we're not, going back into our weight over bar with knees like that too. Otherwise, again, it looks very squatty. We have all that knee angle, but what we have is this hybrid or this moving target coming through with our weight over bar. So it's a hybrid, and what do we want the weight to do, right? Is go up. It's a vertical. So we want to transfer that into this, and what this basically turns into here is this jumping position here, right? So jumping up or even jumping out, right? If I'm going to jump out, I'm still going to drive my knees way over my toes. I'm going to load here. I'm going to have that more mid-foot drive, or I'm going to keep my foot rooted, especially thinking more like driving up into snatch position. We're pushing on the ground as long as we can, because as soon as we come off the ground here, or we have reached extension position, we're not going to be accelerating anymore, or it's going to have to come from another smaller joint. We didn't use, these are the big movers, the big drivers. So we have, driving at our hip, driving at our knee joint, and then the ankle, that last little bit. So point being here, let's think about that a little bit differently and basically make sure our knees are coming forward. So see a lot of people coming down, and especially, another topic to address here quick is the ankle mobility. Do you have adequate mobility? Simplest test for that is, can you push your knee out over your toe and keep your heel down? You still have a flat sole foot. I have good ankle mobility, thankfully. I can push that forward no problem. So working on that would be a good thing for everybody. It's kind of beyond the scope of where we want to go with this, but mobilizing your ankles, tissue work all around the calves, and working on that. Or if you have a good squat, another thing you can do is that's why I do like to wear the lifter shoes. Not only are you a little bit taller and I can just feel the ground and feel solid there, so consider wearing a shoe with a little bit of heel, and especially not a squishy shoe. And that's where, an actual lifter shoe specifically for, Olympic weightlifting that we apply for Highland Games. So consider that, because that will give you more ankle or allow you to go a little bit farther in that. Or we talk about even like the knees over toes guy and how that's a healthy thing, a normal thing. So it fits right along with that. But again, maybe you have some limitations, and then so what tends to happen is you get the guys, I call it more like the Elvis feet, like this. They're rocking up on their toes before the weight's still down in here, right? So they're already up on the toes. They already finished too early, and then you get sometimes the opposite. Or if you're kind of over cue trying to fix that, you'll see people go here, and then they'll stay I'm cheating already. Ankles here. Let's use this box for example. Again, they're not coming forward at all. They're going here, and then to finish, they're staying here, and so they're having to fissure, even if they're coming up on the toes like so little jump. There's a happy medium. There's different body types, different styles. Mine is very jumpy, so you'll see me slightly pop off the ground. Again, I'm not necessarily trying to do that, but that is that full expression of me hitting that extension and driving all the way up through the finish in that nice reverse C, hitting that position. So what that looks like done correctly in slow motion without the weight in my hand here first is I'm coming through here. Head is, again, more neutral. We'll cover that in a different topic here too, but head more neutral line. We don't want the head completely down here, and I don't want the head, it's going to limit my range if my head's all the way up. So right in that neutral-ish range here, that more natural reflexive range. And then as I come back, getting that low point here, this allows me to apply, if I come forward well, I'm still applying force and I'm separating, or see me from the front here, I'm separating and extending. The weight can still be down here. You'll see people finishing again up on the toes, or they're just way too soon with the hips and they haven't timed it, and then the arm just dies out. So I'm waiting, I'm able to apply force longer because I'm pushing here and I'm getting in that jump position. Boom, head is starting to come up. So I'm applying that more hingey, more deadlift position into that scooping position where I'm scooping that weight up and out. Boom, and then able to finish through. And it's almost like my friend Ted Van Bleck talks about, he calls it a double pull. So we're down here, we're setting up this low point, this first pull, and then as the weight's coming out and I'm arching back, getting it in more that vertical line, there's another drive basically right in there to pull as the weight's about to come out of our hands too. So it's like that next phase. Again, if we compare that to an Olympic lift without going totally geeked out into the weeds, more of that position. So again, takeaways here, we want to make sure we're applying force as long as we can, driving the knees forward here, and you can use things like that. And I brought this stick out as well, so you could have somebody there and pushing the knee forward. You'd almost, ideally want two of them, but let's just say you have one that's still going to help mobilize that, get into that squatty position, drive those knees out, and make that connection or disconnect from needing to have the knee go with the heel. I can keep my heel down while my knee's driving forward. Then when I reach the end of that motion, that's when my heel needs to start lifting here. Boom. But still, I'm wanting to extend my knees. So driving forward, extend the knees, then the toes go. So that would be the basic sequence there if I were to think through that. But it does happen so fast, so I need to be working into that. Again, here's what it looks like into the full throw here. Trying to do that as slow as I can as safely as I can, still to finish for you guys with that lightweight. Boom, through that finish. Otherwise, there's a kink in the chain and you're just not gonna get that effective throw, that full linkage or syncing up of that kinetic chain. Like all the chains are taut between the linkage of the body, if that makes sense.